And welcome into Fox 10 Talks. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Steve. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. We got JD here, John Davidson, who works our desk. And everyone's thinking, okay, this is the third edition of this show at this point. Everyone at home's thinking that. I know they are.
Right.
And
keeping notes.
They're thinking, wait, hold on. In the first episode, they said this would be Jasmine Garcia and Steve Nielsen. This is now the second time you've done this with me, and there's been 3 episodes. Are you battling Jasmine behind the scenes here? What is going on?
I think I'm the managing editor now.
Is that how promotions work?
I think so.
You just claimed it like that. I love it. Hey, congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you much.
We'll tell Jasmine, tough luck.
Yep. Better.
That's the power we yield here at Fox 10 Talks, the Fox 10 Talks part of it. So basically what we like to do here during this hour, half hour, 45 minutes, however long we want to go, is sort of just take that extra second on some of the day's stories, that extra little beat, dive into it just a little bit more. And I'm really excited. If you are on our feed right now, watching this right now, first off, if you can make a comment, let me know, because I know you're going to have some questions today, because we have some really interesting guests joining us. In fact, the title of this episode that we have up on the YouTube page right now is Meteor Hunter and Infectious Disease Doctor. Now, those are 2 different people, I want to be clear. But this is, Meteor Hunter has to be the coolest title you can have, I think.
I can't imagine doing anything more interesting than our first guest, Robert.
Yeah, we'll get to Robert in just a second, because I was up at his house today, his museum that he has set up there. It blows me away. It's the second time I've been able to hang out at his museum. It's one of the largest in the world for meteorites. Excuse me. I don't want to get scolded by Robert later. It's a meteor when it's in space, meteorite when it lands. We'll double check with Robert on that one.
Yeah, asteroid, meteorite, I think.
Okay. When is it a meteor?
I think when it's coming into the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay. Robert is, I know, on right now and waiting to jump in with us, and has to be pulling out his hair listening to that. We want to get some of the other, just the huge stories that we have going on out there. You can't start this without talking about the wildfires that we have up north of the Grand Canyon. The White Sage, which is the larger one, but hasn't necessarily caused as much damage on the Grand Canyon. The one that's caused all of the damage that we've been following, that's the Dragon Bravo fire. We had Lauren Clark up there yesterday, right?
Yep.
Sent her up there. I thought it was so interesting because she went up to the South Rim, because you can't get to the North Rim right now, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be closed for the rest of the season. That's where all the devastation is right now.
And there's not that many roads. So when they close off one road, good luck. When you put it into Google Maps, that like just trying to get there to do it, it suggests hiking as the option. That's because there's no other way to do it. Fascinating. Tracking that, following the origin of that fire as well. What have you been tracking and seeing about this back and forth between the politicians and all of this?
Well, what I find most interesting is that this started out as a lightning-caused fire on July 4th, and they decided to let it burn as a controlled burn, which often happens.
Yeah.
But usually in the winter when things aren't as flammable. Winds changed, became out of control. We're at 8,500 acres. Burned 70 structures, including the Grand Canyon Lodge. And a lot of our politicians are saying, why are we in fire season letting a controlled burn happen? Because this would be the predictable results.
Yeah. And it's an area that I don't think has burned in a while, too. So that's probably what goes into the decision to allow it to be a prescribed burn is, actually, we'd really like to get some of this brush out of here. But if you lose track of it, you lose control, you have this situation.
A lot of small fires actually contribute to good forest management, because they get out that understory, they get rid of that ladder fuel, they leave kind of the bigger, harder to burn things. Doesn't look like any defensible spaces happened, didn't look like any other controlled burns had happened, and so you kind of have a tinderbox, similar to what we discussed last time I was on up in Wickenburg.
Yeah, Lil Philosophy. I always love the names on these things here. Just wondering where all the animals go in a situation like this. I know they set up some certain areas for people to bring their horses to bring animals like that to. But when you think about the wildlife there, where do they go?
Utah.
Yeah, you pray and you hope that they got out of there okay, because it's absolutely a habitat changer for many years to come. Another interesting story out there is we actually have an election going on today, a congressional election happening in Arizona, CD7. This is the seat that's open because of Raul Grijalva. Interesting race happening there right now, too.
On the Democrat side, there's a lot of attention being paid to this. Rahul's daughter, Amelita, is running. We also have a 25-year-old, Deja Fox, and then a young politician, Daniel Hernandez, who's been in Arizona a while.
Yeah, we've heard his name for a little while.
This is getting a lot of national attention because of the close balance of power in our national legislature.
When we were talking about this just a little while ago with Fox, you used the word Zoomer. We don't use that word a lot in politics. Someone who's clearly knows the scene online and knows how to get all of that activity going. Does that translate, though, to a congressional primary in a southern Arizona district where there's not any other names on the ballot to bring people in for governor or president, things like that? Like, is that going to bring a 19-year-old voter in?
The polls that I've been watching, POLS polls that I've been listening to, have thought that maybe less than 1% of the voters are going to be younger than 30. So while she's got a lot of support online, nationally, again, does that translate to CD7, which is, Pima, a little bit Pinal, Maricopa?
I mean, I'm not surprised that there'd be a low turnout for younger people on a specific special election like this, but 1%? Well, once this vote happens today, watch Fox 10 later. We'll have the results. We'll have the breakdown, all of that. I'm curious to see what that number actually comes out to. Because if it's 1%, that is a huge story right there that, they're just not showing up.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is the ground game. Can you get your voters out, no matter their age, with an off-schedule election like this?
Let's talk MCSO right now. They put out a video yesterday that got a lot of attention. We have a reporter on this story today for our broadcast here. It's heartbreaking to look at. You almost imagine with that Sarah McLachlan song, right?
Playing I can hear it right now.
Immediately just brings back those sorts of images and thoughts because, they're just such sad-looking dogs and cats here in obviously deplorable conditions. These are sheriff's deputies that went there, and they were able to pull these dogs. They called this an animal cruelty investigation. And they said they found one deceased cat, and all of the dogs and the cats they pulled out of here, they're now safe and okay, right?
Yes. Yeah. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has something called MASH, which is their animal safe haven, and that's where they keep all of their animals. And our new sheriff here, Jerry Sheridan, says that he's not going to tolerate animal cruelty, and they're going to be looking after these animals for the foreseeable future. And you hate to see it. You wonder how people get into this situation.
It's a sickness.
No, literally, I think there's... Yeah. And you'd like to think there's so many people out there if you just say, hey, can someone please help me? But, here we are.
Especially when it comes to animals, people want to help. They really do. And the timing of this is interesting, too, because it was just a couple days ago that we got a new law on animal cruelty that went into effect as well here about giving... if people don't give that proper medical attention, have that correct structure for a dog, something like that, they can now be charged with animal cruelty too. So they've stiffened up these laws here. That doesn't go into effect for a little while, though, yet. I think September sometime. I can't remember what the date is on that.
Yeah, it's going to be later. It really is a great tool for law enforcement to be able to step in so that they hopefully... animals, if they know about it, they don't have to wait to get all of their search warrants in order. So
always love talking with you, JD, because we end up kind of getting into the weeds a little bit on things and spending more time talking about that than planned. And what's that meant is we've had less Robert time. So that means we're gonna give him some more time on the back end after we take the commercial break. But we got to talk to him for a few minutes before we get to that point too. I just know I want to talk to Robert for a while. So this is Robert Ward. He's a meteor hunter. How you doing, Robert?
Doing okay. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. I was just at your house just a little while ago. That's the museum there behind you. JD, every single thing that's behind him there, I'm pretty sure every single thing there was in space at one point.
That's amazing.
Indeed.
I mean, they're huge, too. Some of the items just massive. And the reason we're talking to you, Robert, specifically today is last month, we saw a fireball in Georgia over the Atlanta area. And what I love about this is, JD, you and I, we see a fireball video on Dashcam and we go, oh, that's really cool. And then we move on with our lives. Robert, you see that, you go, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to pack my bags, I'm going to get on a plane, and I'm going to go find that thing today. And that's what you did, right?
Indeed. Yeah, I found 10 stones from that event over about a 4-day period.
10 stones. So walk me through the travel there, what you're looking for, how you go about accomplishing all of this.
Yeah. Well, a colleague from NASA contacted me, so it was a very large event, and the data looked really good in regards to the chances for recovery of meteorites. Of course, it's Georgia, so you're in a very densely wooded areas, but there was some residences and commercial centers nearby. So we thought, well, we'll give it a shot. Very large event, very condensed strewn field. We knew all the stones would be within 2 or 3 mile radius of one another. So flew out there, arrived the next day, had boots on the ground, and it wasn't more than a few hours before I had the first stone.
Incredible. And we're looking at some of your collection right now, looking at some of those videos. The stone you found, we weighed it together. What was it? I think it was 7.3 grams, right?
70 grams.
Excuse me.
I believe.
70 grams. You're right. Yeah. 70.3. I didn't mean to belittle it. I promise.
I found one that did weigh about 7 grams as well. So I found 10 stones total. This 70 grammer was the largest stone that I personally found. Homeowner, there was one that went through a roof, actually penetrated the roof and went through the ceiling of a homeowner's house.
Wow.
And one, I believe, struck a structure in the outside of a residence, and that one was actually larger than my stone. So mine was, I believe, 3rd or 4th largest stone from the fall.
And that was what was so interesting to me, is there's other people that do this too. This has become somewhat of a passion for, I mean, you're the expert at this. You've been doing this for a long time, but other people have started to kind of be a little bit of competition on these hunts, haven't they?
Yeah. There's a lot of other meteorite enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and the world over. But we've seen a definite increase in the United States with the availability of data, and of course, social media is a big part of it these days.
Oh, definitely. All right, Robert, stay with us. We're going to take a break. Hey, welcome back, Fox 10 Talks. Right now, we are talking with Robert Ward, a meteor hunter. Coolest job title in the world, I think. I'm going to open it up to you, JD. I mean, I don't believe you've met Robert before. I know you haven't been to his museum before. What questions do you have for a meteor hunter?
Well, one of the things that I always wondered is we get calls about people who see meteorites and they're like, oh, it landed, in Payson, or, landed in Buckeye, and it actually landed in Los Angeles or something. How do you geolocate where you can get to someplace so easily and find these 10 pieces within a short amount of time?
Mm-hmm. Well, a big part of it, what you just, mentioned, the perception, human perception, even myself as an expert, it's very difficult to tell how far away something really is from one's perspective, or one perspective in general. So camera systems are, important part there. And then, of course, social media, people report loud explosions. That it's probably a rock dropper. So we have multiple tools at our disposal. DoD data. There's satellites that watch the Earth for basically nuclear testing and so forth. Lightning tracking satellites in geosynchronous orbit. Those are an important tool. And then lastly, we use Doppler radar to track the actual meteorites falling. Once we've identified that an event has occurred in a general area, we've narrowed it down. Then we go in and look at the Doppler radar, and then I step in and do the field research for the recovery end of things.
So much science to it.
So if I'm an amateur meteorite hunter, how do I know the difference between, your igneous and metamorphic and extraterrestrial when you're looking at all these rocks on the ground?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is, for the novice, is learning the basics. So there's a lot of resources online. Of course, you can find a lot of resources in your local library. So much more out there on learning the basics of meteorite hunting and planetary sciences than when I first started out. There was just a handful of publications at that time, and there was no internet. So, these days you can go online and research what the basic outer characteristics of meteorites that'll help you identify in the field, whether you have a meteorite or what we call a leverite. You leave it right where you found it. So Arizona has one of the most diversified geologic mixtures of different types of stones of anywhere in the world I've worked. It's actually one of the toughest places to find meteorites anywhere on the planet. You got hematite, magnetite, railroad systems. I get pictures sent to me every day from people that found something near railroad tracks or mining areas, in which we have all over the state. So there's a lot of lookalikes out there, but when you spend time on the internet and time with the resources and you learn the exterior features, the shapes of meteorites, the fusion crusts, the regoliths, the indentations that form during atmospheric entry, and then, of course, the internal characteristics like chondrules, if a magnet's attracted to it or not, which the rarest meteorites, Moon and Mars and achondrites, a magnet's not attracted to them at all. They don't have metal in them in any amounts. So there's a lot of resources to learn the basics these days.
Robert, the first time we met was actually when there was a fall witnessed by your camera of a meteorite in Arizona. You and I went out there into the wilderness. We tried to track it down. I was certain, JD, that I was going to find some of the meteorite. And then I could sell it to Robert and I could retire at that point. But we looked and we looked. We were unable to find it. What did happen while we were out there is I must have picked up every single rock in the book confidently, handing it to Robert saying, I think this is it. And every time you were incredibly kind and said no. And this is what that was. And you explained it really well. And I learned a lot that day. That was really cool. And it was just an awesome day out there. The one thing that did happen, I don't know if you remember, Robert, we lost our photographer. So I was out there.
Indeed.
It was one of my first days working here at Fox 10 as a reporter. I was out there with Dave Sturman, the legendary Dave Sturman at our station.
Legend.
Who retired fairly recently. And it was it was my first day ever working with Dave. I didn't know him that well. We're out there and I start walking ahead with Robert thinking he's behind me trailing. Well, he was getting like a cover shot, and when he looked back, we were gone. And then we looked back and he was gone. How long do you think we looked for him? I mean, it was to the point where we were just about to call for help.
Hours. So he walked the wrong way. We went one way, he went the other. And my Dave, the head of my East Coast team, actually found him. He tracked him down along the fence line.
We had to split up.
If we can find a little rock from space that big, we can find your cameraman.
Exactly, yeah. So it worked out. We were very close to calling, the sheriff's office for help, but thankfully we didn't need to. Everyone was okay. And then the best part is, Robert, I'm always a news reporter at heart. We made deadline too. So there you go. That's the key thing. Hey, Robert, thank you so much. Appreciate you. If you're interested in this at all, make sure you watch 520 today on Fox 10. We have the story there. He looked at it in the microscope, really went in depth to it. So it was great. Really appreciate it, Robert. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Steve. You guys have a good one.
Appreciate it, sir.
Pretty cool, right?
I love that. We're literally out of this world.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things he said to me is like this, as he was holding the rock that fell from Georgia, he's like, a month ago, this thing was orbiting the sun out in outer space, and now it's here in our hands. I mean, it's just incredible. Want to switch gears, though, to another story that has been an international story that happened here in Arizona at Flagstaff. A person unfortunately lost their lives in Flagstaff July 1st, and it took a little while to do the testing and all that, but we found out they died of the pneumonic plague. And I think when people hear the word plague, they go, what's going on? What are we talking about here? I mean, this is the thing from the 1300s. Is it coming back? You immediately hear all the jokes from people saying, oh gosh, we had COVID. Now we got the plague going on. All these different reactions and thoughts out there. So we kind of want to wade through it all, hear the science of it all. What actually should we be concerned or not concerned about with this? So we actually have a doctor joining us right now, Dr. Sami Hoshi. He's an infectious disease expert over at Abrazo Health. First off, thank you so much for joining us, Doctor. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Stephen.
Absolutely. So let's start off here. And I think this is the main question everyone has when we talk about a plague death in our state. Should we be concerned right now? Is this going to start spreading like wildfire?
Well, hopefully not. Usually, like, the cases are like not much. We don't see it much. Of course, we need to be concerned. It's going to alert us there's something happening right now. We need to be concerned, but we don't need to be worried much. We have medication. We're good to keep going. If there's anything unexpected happen, hopefully not. But we should not be like concerned much.
Something I thought was interesting is the medication part of this. So the county health department, they put out a timeline of all of their actions from July 1 to July 11th when they started to alert the public of what was going on here. And that was when they got their final confirmation testing. As they said that they had assumed it was some part of the plague. It takes a while to get that confirmation. They said they started giving antibiotics to close contacts. And they actually said one person did have a fever and shortness of breath. And then they started giving antibiotics to the medical team that cared for that person, and then also to the medical examiner's office as well, once they realized, this was the plague they were dealing with. Doctor, is plague medication, I am blown away by this. Is this just something hospitals have? They have medication for the plague?
Correct. It's an antibiotics. It's basically not only one antibiotic. There are 3 antibiotics. They're available in the hospital for other bacteria we are treating on a daily basis. That's the reason it's available. Fortunately, this medication or this antibiotic specifically is good against pneumonic plague or plague in general. So that's why when I talked to you guys even yesterday, I said it's available. So we should not be concerned about availability of the medication.
Well, Doctor, I was wondering, I think we all learned in school, fleas, rats. Up in northern Arizona, what are the vectors that might transmit a plague to a human being?
So usually it's a flea bite, the flea rodents basically when it goes get it from an infected animal, and it goes to another animal, which also like infects it. So usually human beings are not the source usually, or I mean, they're not like basically just not a reservoir. It happens very rarely. But if the flea comes and like bite the human being, of course, it's gonna have it. Sometimes, like if you're like mowing your lawns and the animal infected, like a rodent or a prairie dog or something, and it keeps going, like inhales that aerosol, it's going to be infected. Usually we hear about plagues. It's a historical disease. We hear it on textbooks. We don't see it usually. Like this is the first case now in Flagstaff. However, it's going to alert us. So let's say a patient comes with shortness of breath, chills, fever, and we are concerned now about like plague. So hopefully it does not happen. We are well equipped. If something happens, we can take the medic. We have all the measures. That's my point, basically.
Yeah. You know, and something we heard also from a lot of people is, okay, this person died July 1st. They didn't alert the public till July 11th, though. Why does it take so long to get that confirmation?
Because, like, number one, the disease is very rare. You need to confirm it first before you tell the public. You don't want anybody to be anxious about it, especially when you hear the word plague. Sometimes it takes a significant amount of time to find out on the test. Sometimes you need to send it to other labs. We have few lab work we can get, but we don't want people to get basically anxious about the disease in general. Now we have it. We got the results back positive. And we alert the community, so we are all aware of the situation. Again, hopefully there's nobody gonna get it, but we need to keep our eyes on it.
Well, great that everybody started receiving antibiotics, though, within 2 days. I mean, the public wasn't necessarily aware because you're trying to figure that out, but at least all of the people that were close contacts, they got those antibiotics. That's fantastic. Doctor, have you ever treated someone with the plague before?
No, we don't. Like, as I said, like it's very rare to have these cases.
Yeah.
It's number one case. Hopefully it's going to be the last, but we don't see it like very rarely. Like now this is the first case, so we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on it. Hopefully we don't get any. And I think many of my peers did not have case of plague. We read about it. It's in history. We have the medication against it, but we need to be aware of this.
Well, welcome back, Fox 10 Talks here. Our episode here titled on our YouTube page of Meteor Hunter and Infectious Disease Doctor.
Love it.
Those are just very interesting words all put together. Did you have any final thoughts on the Meteor Hunter? I thought he was so interesting.
You know, to think about like the age of the universe and the age of the Earth, and to kind of get
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Like, to get this, like, something that you can hold in your hand.
Yeah.
That it's like, you know, this was in the Milky Way a billion years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's in, you know, North Prescott in a little.
Bring it home, JD. Yeah.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah. You're getting deep into this. It's philosophical at this point.
I don't know.
It's emotional.
When I was young, I thought I was going to be an astronaut, and was very fascinated with space. And at that time, we had 9 planets in the solar system, and I was I was sure that was going to happen.
Don't tell Lowell that.
Yeah,
they're still a 9th to them.
You're still a planet to me, Pluto.
Well, JD, if I can leave you with this words of optimism for you, you still can be an astronaut.
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that.
I mean, not actually, but yes, you still can.
If you will it is no dream.
I talk to my kids all the time. I'm like, my kids, you know, I've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. I don't say it to the 1-year-old because she doesn't understand me yet. But the 6 and the 4-year-old, there is no reason you can't be the first person to walk on Mars. If you want to be the first one, you are at the perfect age to be the first person to do that. And both of them go, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, to be 6 again.
I know.
Have everything ahead of you. I'd love to be an astronaut. We're gonna shift gears here. We're gonna shift from this Fox 10 Talks to the show before the show now. So I'm gonna stand up. We're gonna leave this room. JD,
Pleasure.
Thank you again. Appreciate you. Oh, it always feels different when you take the headphones off here. And I'm gonna switch from that to hello, friends. Hello, friends. How's it going? We're gonna stand up right now. We're gonna stand up right now. And now you get a different look at what's going on in our space over here. We have Joe Tillman behind the camera right now, who's doing a wonderful job of walking backwards carefully. We also have Levi Pettigrew, another one of our wonderful photojournalists here. He's the one getting the door for us right now. Nailed that, Levi. Great job. I had one note the last time we did the show before the show, which was I walk too fast. So I am consciously right now trying to walk slower, and I feel like I'm in a little bit of quicksand. But Joe, you're about to walk into a camera, and that is why we walk at the pace we walk. So, you know, walking backwards, it seems easy enough until you do it while holding a camera and you're trying to narrowly get through a door. The stress on the other side of the camera as you're doing this right now, Joe. Oh, I shouldn't turn my back to the camera because then everyone can see my bald spot. Don't want to do that either. You can't laugh too much at that. Come on. All right, so let's go in here. So we're going to go into the newsroom where basically we've got all of these shows ahead of us. We have our 4 o'clock show. We got our 5 o'clock show. Gosh, we're on at 7 o'clock. We've got a 9 o'clock show, a 10 o'clock show. We're streaming constantly. What that means is we're covering a ton of news. There's so much stuff coming into our building. I mean, we just had a half-hour show in there on Fox 10 Talks where we talked about all of our day's stories. We didn't even get through what we would call the A block. The first part of our show, the main stories that we have going on. How you doing, Brad? You having fun? This is our sports guy right here. What are you off doing?
Fixing my camera after I got hit last year.
Oh, okay. Everything okay?
Got my new lens.
Did you get hit by a Sam Levitt throw or something?
No, by a Marvin Harrison touchdown, and the defender came over and hit me in the side.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, so that should be in a museum at this point, I think.
I should.
Yeah. We have fun here. And that's what you get for walking by me when I'm on camera is I'm going to stop and put a microphone in front of you. That's kind of part of the deal. So we're walking into the newsroom, and I'm going to stop here at Ashley's desk first because Ashley drew the short straw. She has the worst desk in the entire newsroom because it's right at the front. So that means when we come and talk, we get
close.
Oh, it is very close. What are you working on today?
You're coming down to my level.
I'm on my knees here.
I'm working on the tomato tariffs. Do you know about this?
No.
Oh, I got some hot goss. So tomatoes are about to be extra expensive. Negotiations between Mexico and the U.S. failed. Mm-hmm. And that means that there's going to be a 17% tariff on tomatoes. So what people don't realize is tomatoes from Mexico are like off the vine. They're like the vine ripened tomatoes. And then our Florida tomatoes are grown in fields and they're picked green. So Mexico argues, look, our tomatoes are in high demand because they're just better quality. But the U.S. is arguing, no, you've pretty much brought them in at lower prices, hurting our agriculture industry, hurting our farmers. So the idea is, these tariffs are going to boost the American agricultural industry, but most business people and Arizona's Governor Katie Hobbs, they're like, no, this is just going to hurt consumers. So I did the math. 17% on tomatoes is about an 8.5% increase. And if you go to fries, your vine ripened bunch, which is like 4 or 5 tomatoes, goes for about $3. So 8.5% on top of that is about $3.25. That adds up. I mean, if you add a quarter here and a quarter there, I mean, you look at your bill and that's how it gets to like over $100, $200, $300, and you're like, I barely got anything. So
I've got 3 kids. I've never left the grocery store under $250.
I can imagine. They probably eat you out of house and home.
They do.
Yes. Yes, they do.
So you're right. I mean, it's 25 cents. I mean, okay, 25 cents is nothing, but that's just on the tomatoes.
Well, the thing is, Mexico's president is like, we're going to try to go back to the negotiating table because this is really going to hurt their producers. If they cannot come to an agreement with the U.S. by August 1st, she's going to look at what other actions she has, which pretty much is like her implying, I'm going to come with retaliatory measures and further hurt your consumers. Boy. So I just feel like as Trump is trying to put this American first agenda, which we understand, he wants our industry to do well, it's us who are kind of like in this transition of what taking, does this all mean? Yeah, what does this all mean, and what does this look like on my bill until we figure this out?
I mean, it's really interesting. There's a lot of perspectives. There's a lot of dynamics there. There's a lot of thoughts on how to do that. We'll look for your show. When are you going to be on TV?
4:30 on Fox 10.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I'm getting old, so getting off. Getting off of the floor off my knees. Whew, my left knee is going to be swollen for a week after doing that. It was worth it, though. It was worth it to get on her level there. So that's an interesting story about going on. Oh, Joe is just like sprinting backwards at this point. The newsroom here, it's a little bit quiet. Everyone's wondering why I'm walking around with a microphone as they're trying to hurriedly put their shows together. This is the producer area. That's where the producers are. And then we've got some other reporters going on over here. We got Taylor. Taylor, hi, how are you? And Mario as well. And let's see if Mario scoots out of the shot or wants to stay in it. Hi, Mario. Okay, Mario doesn't want to be in the shot. Taylor,
yes.
Is this your first time on the show before the show?
It is, yeah.
You have been here for how long now? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
How are you liking it so far?
I'm loving it. Everyone's great. It's a lot of work, but that's why we do this, right?
Yeah, so you came out on a story with me when it was one of your first days, and I think one of the things I said to you is, when you work in Phoenix, we drive a lot. You're probably going to go to Flagstaff once every other week or so, and you immediately were in Flagstaff your very first week covering the plague story. Now you're talking Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're talking Grand Canyon fire. It's heartbreaking, and we were covering the plague up in Flagstaff. Tough story to be on, but an absolutely beautiful area. My goodness. And you weren't kidding. My first Saturday here, I get sent to Flagstaff, and now I'm obviously not at the Grand Canyon, but just working on a story, talking to people who are affected by it. Maybe there's a lot of people that work for the National Park Service that have lost homes, so I'm reaching out to them, hoping to share some of their stories. But really just a sad thing, combing through Facebook, so many people are posting 25 years ago we went here on our honeymoon and things. So just to hear all the memories that are there is really devastating.
It is. I mean, it's such a gorgeous. Have you been to the Grand Canyon before?
I have not. It's actually a funny story. My family and I were on a road trip 15 years ago and tried to go to the Grand Canyon, but we're too ADD and just weren't in the mood to be looking at things anymore after a long car ride. So we went to Sedona instead and sat by a pool.
Well, Sedona's amazing too. That's great. But I mean, Grand Canyon, it's this breathtaking thing that just makes you just rethink life and everything when you look at it. To then see an area like that that's built all on just imagination and wonder, covered in smoke right now. Oh, it is heartbreaking. Look forward to your reporting. When are you going to be on TV for us? Yeah,
I will be on tonight at 9 and 10 and hopefully be sharing some great stories. And Grand Canyon for sure is on my bucket list.
Awesome. Taylor, thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to leave Taylor now. And this time, Joe, hi. This time I'm going to be the one walking in reverse. I'm going to prove to Joe how easy it is. Right, you seeing this, Joe? This is pretty smooth right now. Really hope someone doesn't put a chair behind me or a trash can. And we're gonna go through the door here like this, as you see, and we're gonna go talk weather real fast. We only got a couple more minutes here, but we gotta talk to Erica. So let's come in through the studio. Watch for your feet, Joe. We got cables all around. Erica, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Is the word monsoon in the forecast?
It is. So yeah, we actually have a lot going on. A big push of monsoon moisture is about to move in, and we're already actually seeing some severe weather in the high country right now. So I wanted to actually show you this because it could affect some of our viewers. It's actually near some of our larger mountain towns like Show Low and Heber. These are going to be in effect until 4 to 4:15, bringing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, along with some small hail and very heavy downpours and a lot of lightning. So this is just the beginning.
Got it. And I can tell you're busy because when I first came up to you, I was like, hey, I'd like to go talk with you in just a little bit. Anytime you go up to Erica, she says yes for anything. She's always happy to do everything. And this was the first time you were like, I'm pretty busy right now. Yes, but I'm pretty busy right now. So thank you. We're going to let you get going to that and focusing on that. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay tuned 4 o'clock. Watch your forecast. Watch all our stories. We'll see you then.